boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Yeah. Wait. Uh-oh. What's this? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Don't. All right, man. So you know I'm going over Lucio Fulci. How can I do this different than anyone else? These are the four films that he's known for. He's known for a lot more, but I'm just saying these four films, these Living Dead films, essentially, are some of the most disturbing, not just gory, but like the atmosphere, the disturbingness of it, and it's still supernatural film. I mean, you had the cannibal films, like Cannibal Holocaust. You've had stuff like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, where it sort of gets under your skin a little bit. But these films do that while still being fantastical, per se. And the atmosphere and the gore, they balance well. And in terms of what they always say, where the weakness of it is the narratives. Well, obviously, Fulci and the Italians, with these Giallo films and others, they made very coherent narratives. These films in particular, the ones after Zombie 2, which was the fake title sequel for Dawn of the Dead in Italy to make money, sort of show that. And my offer of Fulci was that the man, like a lot of the Italian film industry, was considered a hack. Okay, Argento had he's an artist, right? Brian De Palma was a fan, or whatever. But Argento, Fulci and the others, all their films were considered hack films. Okay, horrible, disgusting, exploitative. Obviously, the big thing with Italy was they would sort of copy a popular American genre film in style, but instead of using the dollar, using the lira. So you had a lot less resources. However, I always argue, and the Italians always put themselves up for this, and they're right, is that they were very talented, the craftsmanship they had. They were very talented, passionate filmmakers. And now, just like back then, now these men are being vindicated, even as the Italian film industry is sort of dead. Like I said, Fulci was a hack. That was a big thing. He was considered a hack. And now, of course, he died just before the DVD revolution. You want to talk about a revolution, at least amongst nerdy cinema people. And then, people who loved it, Shriek Show, Blue Underground, Anchor Bay, I think they were related, remastered these films, made tons of extras, talked to whatever surviving cast members you had or associates you had. And many of these men now are being vindicated as the craftsmanship they were. Men who actually were doing, right, with film, what you're supposed to do. In the end, it's commerce, right? They're not making art films for themselves. They wanted to make money, damn it. So, of course, there's so many other films he did. The Don't Torture a Duckling is probably one of his best movies. Very interesting, nuanced film with some brutal scenes. Okay, you want to talk about a hack? There is a hack with an Italian last name. His name is Tarantino. He's always been a hack. Okay, and they were aping guys like this, whose many of their movies were relegated to VHS being cut. Right. I just showed you scenes from Zombie. Right, We Will Eat You. Of course, it was called Zombie 2 because Zombie was Dawn of the Dead. So they were trying to trick people into going to see the film, but two very different movies. Okay, and then of course The Beyond, right? City of the Living Dead, which I know many people knew in VHS stores as Gates of Hell, with a big box with a scary looking zombie on it. And of course, of these four films, they're all great. The House by the Cemetery is maybe his creepiest film. Set in a haunted house. Okay, I'll cover something else real quick. Real shout out to this guy. If you want to see his films, apparently Peer Gynt is also has a YouTube channel rather than just being a protagonist in a Norwegian play. And he has, what is this? Lucio Fulci films. Richard English. Is that the other guy? I don't know. I guess this is a fave thing, but this is a good resource here. You get to see Fulci's films. He worked his way. Well, I'll get into that with the thing here. This film here, Beatrice Senshi, is a historical piece. He says that's his favorite film, but he also did an adaptation of with Franco Nero, if you remember him from Forced Hud, of Jack London's story. Also, this is great. I didn't know this. I want to watch this. This comedy, Dracula in the Provinces, where a guy gets bitten by a vampire and he thinks he's gay or something like that. But of course, here are the big dogs, the ones that he's known for. Zombie Flesh Eaters, the original name for, I think, no, the British name for zombie. City of the Living Dead, which I call it Gates of Hell. Contraband, I never saw that. That's like a violent, that's Napidons fighting the French smugglers. The Black Cat, I never saw that either. House by the Cemetery, of course, I think is maybe his best. Conquest, the infamous film my mother watched when I fell asleep, which was kind of like a Conan, Sword and the Sorcerer type takeoff, right? Because that's what the Italians did. But my mother said it was too gory. And I seen clips of it, but I need to watch it in full. Well, guess what? I can do that, and so can you. Look at this. And some of the later films he did that get a bad rap, but they don't have. I think "Don't Torture a Duckling" might be on another channel that I'm gonna recommend. But Lucio Fulci, like I said, guy was great. Had a reputation of being kind of difficult on the set. Some actors had to like put him in his place. You know, the Italians, they get passionate, right? Oh man, I remember I bought this book where I bought it at Kim's Video, BTD. Remember that place? What a great place that was. And I'm gonna focus obviously on the Fulci interview. Where is it? I should have. There we go. 58. Can you count? Yes, you can. Can you count, brothers? Can you count? There he is. Some interesting things here too. Right. I like something he said here. What I say is the important thing is not so much to reach your goal, it's to set out to reach it. Okay. Always, and this is something, if you're a Lovecraft fan, you may want to check his movies out. There's actually references to his work there, right? I've read H.P. Lovecraft's work, which is pretty heavy going, and of course Poe, okay? Yeah, he always mentioned Lovecraft, right? And he mentions, of course, the Marxist Gramsci, right? Culture doesn't mean possessing a bag full of notions. It involves filtering them through the notions of one's own sensitivity. Yeah, I guess that's true. I like this here too, because he's a Catholic and a Marxist apparently. But you know what? That when you're Italian, you're Marxist. You're probably trying to get you're probably trying to get a girl. Is there a social comment intended here, right? With this parody of the Dracula in the Provinces. No, not at all. Social comments are always out of place in a fantasy film, which should be all the more enjoyable for having nothing in common with the massive films made by amateurs. Take up social standpoints because they aren't experts at making films, and so instead insert political content. Interesting. What is this? I like this here with the Beyond, right? What I wanted to get across that film is the idea that all of life is often really a terrible nightmare, and that our only refuge is to remain in this realm but outside time. Very Schopenhauerian, and he's a Catholic, right? I believe being a Catholic. Interesting. 4 of the Apocalypse, if you ever see this, it literally is it's the same crew as Zombie. It's a Western. Michael J. Pollard's in it. If you remember him, like the creepy guy, he's in this. Fabio Testi, dude, the end of it, I guess I shouldn't give it away, but what he does at the end of this film to get revenge is really, actually makes a lot of sense, okay? When you're dealing with more than one enemy, are you going to announce yourself to them, or are you going to hit them by surprise? I like that. A really good movie, actually. And the second half of it, actually very sentimental. And also the old Fly, bringing up the Cronenberg's The Fly. Actually, a fan of Cronenberg, and of course the Metamorphosis, which I had covered last year. The Shine. Yeah, I like this. Kubrick. Oh, Kubrick is a great director, but he deals with things that don't concern him. Right. The normal duration for any film is Corman, right? He always brings up Roger Corman, big Roger Corman fan, and rightfully so. Points out there's an hour and 20 minutes. Right? I think Mr. Kubrick is too good for horror. Well, I mean, come on, man. Like this New York Ripper, in a country like America where being a winner is compulsory. Not anymore. The winners have cast their have laid down their words, laid down their laws on the rest of us. I like this. I'm a man who searches for God and who has doubts. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, and he makes a good point here too, right? Fantasy cinema isn't alive in Italy. Of course, this is years ago, but yeah, France has 30 magazines dedicated to fantastic cinema, while not being known for a country to actually produce much of it. Whereas in Italy, they did a lot, but you don't have, right? You have an awful critic. Who is this? That doesn't sound like an Italian name, man. What gives? And so it's just an interesting. I like this too in Italy. That makes sense. Europe, August, the whole month, everybody's off apparently. The genre films they only come out in August, right? Which so everyone's hot as hell, right? Whereas in America, obviously, they release a lot of these films. Well, I mean, they release these films year round, but like they don't have a Halloween in Italy, so they got Carnival, right? And it was an interesting interview on it for me. Very controversial director. I know the guy could be a dick sometimes from what I've read, but Lucio Fulci. And I'll just say real quick, I was at that the infamous Blizzard of '96, which I mentioned before. There was a Fangoria convention. I think it was around the time January, February. I remember going there. I remember meeting Lucio Fulci, and he was very he seemed very. He was surprised he had so many young fans. I was young at the time, I guess. And he was there, and it was interesting. But everybody was laid up in the motel. I took the subway home because my train line was on the ground mostly. But yeah, I saw him just before he died, and it was interesting. And only for a few years later to then become a much bigger name. But hey, isn't that how it is? Anyway, I give you Lucio Fulci. And check out his films. I'm probably gonna cover some more movies where he's at when I cover more of the giallos. So there's an awesome channel that is out there showing those films, and Fulci has I think 2 of them in there. So anyway, arrivederci, right?